What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and in this video, I'm going over why I love My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. It's my favorite movie out of all the My Hero movies, and, I mean, I honestly just think it's so much better than the rest, but I really think My Hero Academia is so great that no matter what My Hero Academia thing you're messing with, it's probably going to be good. And this video dives into why I think World Heroes Mission is the best out of all the movies, and my favorite, and just a really good movie. So, let's get started. First thing that I think makes this movie so good is it does not take place in Japan or anywhere near Japan. The entire My Hero Academia show takes place in Japan, and every single movie, except a small amount, take place either in Japan or very close to Japan. And I feel like this movie is really nice because it gives a nice change of scenery. And you can also see how other places in the world react to heroes. One of the big, strong points of My Hero Academia is the fact that its economy is so in-depth, and it matters who you are and what kind of hero you're going to be, and if you're not a hero or not. And the fact that, in this movie, it allows us to see the economies of other places in the world, that's a good thing, because, it makes the whole, good part about the economy in My Hero Academia just so much better because you can see other versions of it. It makes sense that other places in the world would have different hero economies, and this one definitely helps, but mainly because it, takes place out of Japan. And, you can really see that they wanted to focus on non-Japan by some of the main arcs in the movie, and the movie's called My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission, World, because, they jump around from different spots in the world all the time in the movie. And that's a very good thing. And it's just, really refreshing and nice to get a change of scenery with, the My Hero Academia characters that are so beloved. And I, would like to continue putting a strong focus on society in this video. That's why I would like to continue to talk about it. And, you see, the society in wherever the main area that this movie takes place in is just so incredibly different with, their ideals, their laws, their religions even. And religion is definitely another interesting topic because of the fact that, the whole antagonist group is a religion. And the fact that, society has, such a strong idea of that religion is, very intriguing. And I understand the religion's bad, but it is still a religion. And the fact that this society is so in-depth and they put detail into it really shows that the creators of the show, really thought about what I'm talking about now. The fact that, society is a big part of My Hero Academia, and since we're in a new area, we have to deal with it. I would also like to put a large focus in this video onto an amazing character, Rhodey. I love Rhodey. He's a great character, and I even put a poll out on my channel asking what your favorite side character in each My Hero Academia movie is. And Rhodey won, so clearly other people agree with me. And, this character, though, I feel like he beats all the other My Hero Academia movie side characters by a lot. Like Manessa and Motorcycle Guy and the kids, he is just so much better than them. First off, his quirk is very interesting. It's not, well, for lack of a better word, it's actually not interesting. The fact that it's not interesting makes it interesting, because he has kind of a lame quirk, and I don't really even like the quirk, but the fact that it's so lame definitely puts a spotlight on him, because of, in this world of heroes with quirks, his quirk is actually, lame. And it puts a spotlight on him, you get to see what his life is like without some flashy quirk. And the whole thing of, giving him such an in-depth backstory that, first off, is very interesting and good, and his backstory ends up tying in with, the main antagonist group of the movie, which is, great, and good movie writing. And, spoiler alert, but, his dad, was kidnapped for the religion group, and he helped make the bombs, and, he created a secret key that he gave to, Rhodey and whatnot, and, I mean, it was just, all that stuff is just great and interesting, and it's good that it's interesting, because that's what we want from a movie. So, I love this character. Also, he looks cool. he's in a really cool trench coat. And trench coats make people look cool. I cannot ignore the fact that, yes, he is in a trench coat all the time, and he looks cool. So, that's nice. And, we also got to talk about, his siblings, but, mainly on the fact that his job, and how, he ends up getting wrapped up into this mess, first off, Midoriya is considered a criminal, which I love, I'll get into that later, but he just gets wrapped up into this whole mess, and it's nice, how it's just like a luck, it's like, whoa, a little thing happened, and boom, you're in a journey of a lifetime, which I always find this fun when that happens. If you've watched The Lord of the Rings, Merry and Pippin are definitely good examples of that, and I love the jewelry, and how the briefcases get swapped up, and that whole scenario is just really good, and I'm glad that it happened. Another thing about the movie that you might think is small, but it's, I feel like, great enough to deserve its own section in this video. And that is the fact that Izuku Midoriya is considered a bad guy. So, long story short, the police think he did something that he didn't, because the police are, like, working for the bad guys, and it basically means all the police targeted Izuku Midoriya. And I love that. I love the idea of it. The first time I heard that, I was like, what? This is insane. And I wish they would do this plot more. I mean, I love the idea of it, and it's like, oh, they had someone get accused of being a bad guy. And it's not like, oh, it looked like they did something, but they didn't. No, the police are working for the bad guys, and no one knows it. And I'm just saying that I feel like the fact that Izuku Midoriya ended up getting arrested or accused, I mean, that's just one of the best, points in the movie. I mean, I think it's just insanely good storytelling. Another thing worth note is the new characters introduced, especially the villains, because they did a great job with the new villains for the movie. And the fights were amazing, and they were great, and they were, animated very well, and it was good. Also, the characters specifically, the main antagonist, the blue guy, he was just basically being pretty awesome, basically, with his quirk, basically being like, oh, I can throw your attacks back at you, but, doubled? Yeah, that's awesome. And let's not forget the smaller villains, like the bow and arrow girl. I mean, she is definitely worth note. Her hand can turn into a bow and arrow, and, they underused her. She was too much of a side character. She was a great character. She wasn't used well. But she was a great character. It's just, I wish we saw more of her. That's my point. And then another great antagonist you had is, the twins, the chain spike twins. Awesome. Their fight with Bakugo was so good, I'll even make the argument, it was better than the final fights in the movie. That fight was so freaking good. And I feel like Bakugo just tends to have better fights than Midoriya. And that's because, he's not, your stereotypical hero about it. He does not give a care if these people die. And, that allows him to basically go all out. And, explosions are a lot more flashy and cooler than, All For One. Because of that, I feel like Bakugo's fights always seem to be better than Midoriya's, with exceptions, of course. And, as we're ending this video, it's only right that we end the video with the topic that's the end of the movie. And that's the bombs. The bombs are the bomb. That sounded cheesy, but you get my point. If you've seen the movie, you gotta understand that these bombs at the end are awesome. And, all the My Hero Academia movies tend to feature, most of, the main cast of characters. This one did not really do that near as much. They mainly focused on, Midoriya and Rhodey, which is completely fine, but, you can tell that some parts of the movie are just, added on to make, to keep those characters still here. And, those parts of the movies being, you know, when it cuts to like the other, you know, teams and the other regions and stuff, like that was you can just tell that was added to show the other characters. But then at the end, it feels like it gives a better reason of why it was showing that, and like, it was cool. It was cool because, you know, the whole movie, you're like, okay, Rhodey and Midoriya, that's great, but I want to see some of the characters I know. And then at the end, big finale, got all the characters you know trying to stop these bombs. They all stop their bombs in different ways. Some of them, you know, try to sacrifice themselves to stop the bomb. Of course, the bombs don't go off, but, you know, they still try, in case they did. And, like, that's all great. But another thing about the bombs is the fact that they're the thing that the bomb does, and that's if the bombs explode, they make everyone's quirks go haywire, which is really cool, and a feature that I wish was dived more of. Like, you know, we went into that more either in this movie or in the show, and yeah, we go into it a little bit with, you know, with like the quirk affecting drugs and sometimes making it go crazy, but like, you know, I feel like we never had a true section of there being this negative thing that made quirks go so haywire, where it was just all around bad for the person who had the quirk and for everybody around them. So the fact that these bombs make everyone around them do that is cool. So, you know, it's like good and bad. It's good because it's awesome and it's happening, but it's bad because it shows us this cool thing that we could have gotten, and we really only got it in this movie. But I say all that, I mean, but great movie. I mean, excellent movie. Like, whenever I think, like, top 10 movies for me, this is usually up there. Of course, it's usually impossible for, you know, a human to actually decide their top 10, but I always rank this one very high on my list, just because My Hero Academia always holds a special place in my heart, and, you know, because of that, I, you know, will tend to rank my favorite My Hero Academia movie high on my imaginary movie ranking list. Well, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you loved it. I know I did. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I love this movie. Peace out, everyone.